Hi, everyone. Welcome to Levels. I'm Jeremy Long, joined as always by my co host, the sportsnista Cassandra Cusino, coming to you live from beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. And what a great time to be a boxing fan, right, CC?
Dude, it feels like just, with one fight, big time boxing is back.
Oh man, that is the general feeling, and you know what? We're gonna find out if those feelings are misplaced or if we're hitting the nail right on the head because we have a special guest in Michael Woods, who is the editor and publisher of nyfights.com, big time publishing for boxing enthusiasts and everything. If you don't know it, you need to log on and check it out right now. We're gonna bring him right on because there's a lot of boxing to talk about and during fight week, you also caught up with our dear friend Jamel Herring,
Yeah.
and had a little sit down with him, had a little powwow in the middle of everything else going on with Fury and Wilder. So let's get right to it with there he is, Michael Woods. What's going on, bro?
Hi guys, I'm in Park Slope, Brooklyn, New York.
Hey.
I'm I'm laying on my stomach on my bed. Just so you know, there might be a child that pops in. There might be a cat that pops in. The dog is next to me to the left, so I'm sort of just trying to set expectations reasonably low for this hit.
Listen, I just put on some lotion because I feel like, because I know you're from New York, I didn't want to be on here with you with ashy elbows. So,
I
we're
don't.
all
What?
we're all
Wait a
trying
sec.
hard.
Hold
We're
on a
all trying
second.
hard.
Why do you think I would care about ashy elbows? Because I'm from. I mean, New York. Like no different than a lot of people, but we see a lot of shit. We can see shit on here, and
Absolutely.
so I don't ashy elbows. I don't care. You a good person. You a nice person.
There you go.
That's all that matters to
Well,
me. Ashy
I am a
elbows,
native New
whatever.
Yorker. I did grow up 90 miles north of the city, so I am a native New Yorker, but
Where
I
did
mean,
you grow up now?
oh goodness, in Dutchess County, so 90 miles north of where you are, near
What
Marist
town?
College,
What? Hold on. What town were you in?
near Poughkeepsie.
Okay.
So you take the
That's
Metro North, and there you go.
all right. So they all know you there as the big boxing the big boxing persona.
Listen, there were 48 kids in my graduating class, so they know we all know everybody in the whole damn town.
Small place. So if anyone misbehaved, the word got around real quick.
Man, they come to the house. Teachers
Yeah.
came to the house to talk to my parents. It was a mess.
Oh, what did you do?
What
What
didn't I
didn't she
do?
do?
No. What did she do?
Listen. Sometimes you got to settle things, and
Oh, violence. Okay.
I believe in efficiency of language. All right, I'll tell you something one time. That's it.
Efficiency of language. Okay, but what about the fists?
That's what I'm saying. If I told you once, I have to show you another
Then
way.
you're gonna graduate from language to fists. Okay, I get
This
it. All
this
right. I'll not
Got to
mess
move
with you.
furniture. Got to move
Not.
some furniture sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Well, Mike, tell us. Let's start with you and yourself, and how did nyfights.com come to be, and where does that love of boxing come from?
So I've been doing this a while, few decades. Uh, Backtrack to sort of how and why I got into it. I was in college when Tyson was gonna fight Buster Douglas,
Hmm.
and I was certainly a boxing fan. I grew up in Massachusetts, so Marvin Hagler was talked about there a lot. So it was the heavyweights and Hagler is what I grew up on mostly. Not like left coast, right? You
Mhm.
guys, a lot of lighter weight fighters and all that. New England area, not so much about that. So I went to school in Ohio Wesleyan University, and I remember this. I was listening to the radio, classic rock station, and they were talking about the forthcoming Mike Tyson fight. He's fighting a guy from Ohio. Buster Douglas was his name. And I said to myself, that sounds like that sounds like a white guy that got no chance. I was not, I was a fan, but not hardcore. So I, quickly started doing some research, read the USA Today, and Buster Douglas, okay. No, he's not a white guy, but I don't think he got a chance, really. But because he was from Ohio, they talked about it a lot, and it perked up my interest. And so I certainly tuned in the night of the fight. It was in the Phi Gamma Delta fraternity house. It was in Rob Newman's room, and there was a lot of marijuana being smoked.
Well, it was
a lot by me too. But through the haze of the reef and the booze and whatever else, I was like, oh shit, this drama, the immensity of this moment, I don't know, it just hit me. It hit me different because I was a humongous sports fan. I grew up in Massachusetts, Boston. I was a mass hole. And
Mickey Ward's territory.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, that place is sports crazed. I mean, so many places are sports crazed, right? But I've lived in New York since '99, so looking back now, I can really see people are obsessed with sports there. The Red Sox, they talk about it all the freaking time. It's the weather, and it's the Red Sox, and it's the Patriots, it's the Celtics, it's the Bruins. Boxing is not really on the list there. But the boxing skipped to the head of the line there for me, I would say, right in that moment, because you have the in-ring action and then you have the out of the ring action. And so I would say from then on, I was really like, I dove into it. I started really reading up heavily, and became more, historically grounded in the whole sweet science. And I started writing for a Boxing Digest magazine. Many magazines don't exist anymore, and that is one of them, at about 95. And I've been doing it at, various levels since then. I was at ESPN magazine for 10 years, wrote ESPN.com, ESPN New York. I edited the sweetscience.com for like 9 years. And so I've run NY Fights since 2016, work for Ring, contribute Bad Left Hook, call fights for Fight Night Live and other entities. So yeah, that's the semi short bio. That's what brings me here today. And so then you say, boxing's back, baby, right?
It feels like it. You get one good fight, right? And I want to ask you about that too, because I did see there was an article on the site saying that it looked like, I think, two drunk uncles or somebody or another. Like,
who said that? Who said that?
I'm gonna tell you right now.
Yeah.
It says opinion: Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder 3 looked like a sloppy bar fight.
Oh, that's my guy, David Phillips. Yeah.
Yep.
He pushing a few buttons right there. Pushing a few buttons.
Is that what it looked like to you?
It wasn't too technically refined. It was sloppy at times, but I will take passion, the intensity of the sort we saw on Saturday night over refinement every freaking time. Mm-hmm. Can I backtrack to what I was saying before, how I got into it a little bit?
Yep.
So I was more of a hockey fan back in the day, right? Maybe you don't know the name Bobby Orr, but Bobby Orr was probably the greatest. Yeah, okay, greatest hockey player period for a time in the 1970s. And so not every, but a shitload of young boys in Massachusetts wanted to be like Bobby Orr. And so there was a lot of hockey playing then. So I played. And, but you know what, part of the hockey I always like the most? The fighting.
Yeah.
The fighting. There's just nothing like it. You know, I'm picturing in my head right now and just seeing the guys wailing away at each other, you know, holding the jersey with one hand and smashing with right hands on the other hand. So, you know, that was in my blood, digging that, really grooving on that from
Was
early
Cam
on.
Neely ever your guy? Were you ever
Oh
like a
yeah.
Cam Neely fan? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. How long is the show? How long we got? How long you want from me?
We're talking to you. How long
Okay.
you got?
So let me tell you the Cam Neely story I got. So I was living in Massachusetts still, and this was 98, maybe 97, 98. And at the time, I was working not in journalism. This is before I moved to New York. Let's see, I got out of college and I fucked around for a while. Was finding myself. I was finding myself in some iffy situations and what have you. So then I kind of saw the light, right? You guys know when you see the light, he's sometimes you hit the fucking floor and you get knocked out, and then there's Tweety birds over your head, and that's the fucking light. So figuratively, that's what happened. So I picked up my chiclets on the ground, teeth on the ground, dusted myself off, and I sort of started trying to get respectable again.
No, I can't keep doing that.
So I got a job at a call center doing telemarketing for Craftmatic adjustable beds. You know what? Do you know what a Craftmatic bed is?
Sure.
Yeah.
I sell you one. So, but it was a goofy, funny, fabulous, idiotic place that was like a sitcom. It was in Brookline, Massachusetts. Worked there for like 4 years. And I would, you know, on the side, sometimes I cover boxing matches in Massachusetts and then write them up for Boxing Digest magazine. So once a week or so, I'd go out for lunch to my favorite Thai restaurant across the street from the Craftmatic adjustable bed call center in Brookline, Massachusetts. And I was in there one afternoon. It was probably 1:30 or so. And there was almost no one in there because it was past lunch peak. And I'm eating my chicken prick king. I always ordered the chicken prick king, and I like to say it too. Prick
That's got
king.
the green beans in it. Right?
Yeah, you know it.
Yeah.
All right, Cece. All right. All right. So I'm eating my stuff and I'm minding my business, and I'm reading an edition of Boxing Digest magazine. I don't remember who's on the cover, but I hear a voice. There's two patrons over yonder, and they see me reading the Boxing Digest magazine. And it's Michael J. Fox and Cam Neely. They're friends. They play hockey together, right?
Oh.
Yeah. And so we just start shooting the shit about boxing. and then they're like, who are you? What do you do? I say, I'm Mike Woods. I work at Craftmatic adjustable beds across the street, and I cover boxing on the side. And so Michael J. Fox just starts laughing, and Neely's laughing, and they're more interested then in the Craftmatic beds than in the boxing. So they're like, how much do those things run? How much they cost? I said, well, it kind of depends on who you are and how much money we think you have. Being kind of a punk, but honestly, that's the way a lot of sales stuff works, right? What's your budget? So I said, I don't. You can get one with all the bells and whistles for like $3,000. And so I can't remember. I'll just say I can't remember. Maybe I can, but I'll say I can't remember which one of the guys said it. But he said for $3,000, that thing better fucking fly, man. And then one of them said, "So if I buy the bed, does my wife have to be in it with me?" And they both just started laughing. And I said, it's for $3,000 if you want to buy one of the beds. Whatever you do with it is up to you.
What a weird world.
And then
Cam Neely and Michael J. Fox hanging out.
Then I finished my Prick King, and that was that.
Oh my gosh!
I thought you were going to tell me they were shopping for beds together. There you go. Well,
no one bought a bed.
No one bought a bed, though. See, come on. Let's look at Wilder Fury. Not the most technical, you said earlier, but certainly one of the more exciting heavyweight fights. Where a lot of people at the end of this are now calling it one of the greatest heavyweight title fights of all time. Where would you rank this personally? Is this one of the greatest heavyweight fights you've ever seen, title fights, or are people just kind of in that moment where they just saw something exciting and now they're being a little overzealous with it?
I'm going to try to err on the side of going with that momentum and being in the flow of that moment and just be positive, because fucking I'm not going to say we deserve it, but we almost deserve it. Almost no sport probably has been hit as hard as boxing with COVID, and it makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
In baseball, even if, a bunch of COVID is hitting a bunch of the players, all right, you lose 3. In basketball, okay, you lose 2. Football is a big freaking roster, right?
Mm-hmm.
Boxing is a different animal. It's 2 men or 2 women in a main event, right? And if we lose one of them, fucked. And that's been happening so much. Count off the top of your head how many main events got evaporated because of COVID. Just recently, you had Teofimo into Tyson Fury. You had Oscar. You had Joe Smith. And I'm not even remembering like 6 others. Right?
Sometimes we lost the same fight multiple times.
Yeah. Your guy, Jamel Herring, your friend Jamel, knows all about that. So I've been getting down on the sport. Now, not just because of COVID. Remember, I've been doing this since the mid-90s. And so a lot of the shit gets repetitious, annoyingly so. Bitching about the same thing. It's not the best fighting the best, and fucking pay-per-views, and right? And I don't really want to succumb to that if I can't help it, because then I become like, the veteran who's too burnt out and he's sick of it and he should just find something else. I want to look on the bright side, but I'm not going to bullshit and be like, oh, it's all freaking good, because it's not all freaking good. It's been actually pretty shitty for the last couple years to me. We can argue it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We can argue it. You've had bright spots, but PBC had a great opportunity. I don't think they made the stiffest matches they could have. DAZN, Eddie Hearn had a great opportunity. I know he did. I know he didn't. So the spending wasn't always wise. The matchups were rarely great. People are going to look back on this era and be like, oh, they spun their wheels a lot. And with COVID, it was worse. It was bad. But I watched that fight on Saturday night. And then right before that, they did the Crawford Porter press conference, right?
Yeah.
And so those 2 things together, I said, you know what? Maybe we're on a new track here, and we need to be on a new track, because the track hadn't been working. It had not been working. Too many people were saying, Woods, I fell off. I'm not even following it anymore.
Right.
You finished the year strong, though. I think it's going to finish the year strong. I mean, you mentioned Crawford and Spence. Of course, Canelo's coming up before
Yeah.
that. And actually, at the end of this month, we got Herring and Stevenson. That's an important fight. It might not be like the biggest one on the landscape, but it's an important fight.
It's an important fight. Um, Expectations are to most people that the young gun, Shakur Stevenson, who was so excellent, mostly defensively, he's still finding himself offensively. And I hope he finds himself, because people are finding his fights not that compelling to watch.
Right.
Skills pay the bills. Sure,
Mm-hmm.
great. But do they keep people entranced, intrigued, wanting to see you again?
Right.
Part of it. That's
No. No. In his case,
Yeah.
no.
right.
They came down on him pretty freaking hard in the last fight
Last
there.
fight.
The ESPN crew was not pulling their punches. Bless them. I
Yeah,
appreciate
even
that.
Andre Ward wasn't actually on the desk for that one, but
Yeah, because he recused himself. Yeah.
yeah. But even I can't imagine Andre would have said much differently than
No,
Bradley
you're
did.
right. You're right. But I, like you, bit of a fan of Jamel Herring. And by the way, I'll admit that to people. Journalists are supposed to be unbiased and all that shit. No, we're human beings. So I talk to someone and I have a decent rapport with them. That influences me. I'm gonna want to talk to them more, right? So,
Right.
and Herring is one of those guys. He always gets back to me. So sue me. I'm selfish like that. So, in other words, what I'm trying to say is, I think Jamel Herring's a pretty decent dude. I know him a little bit. A person who's a pretty decent dude who I know a little bit. I'm not like so neutral. I don't care who wins. No, I like that guy a little bit. So I'd like him to do well. I'd like that fight to be, a competitive matchup. A lot of people are thinking probably Shakur is going to run away with it. Jamel has said, right? He told you,
Mm-hmm.
Says, no, it's
Right.
going to be a fight, Mike. It's going to be a fight. So
Right.
that's what I want. But how important is that one? It'll be more important if Herring really pushes Shakur like I want him to. Like Shakur needs to be pushed. That kid needs to be pushed back, bullied a little bit, tested some. And the reason he's not is because, to this point, is because he's excellent. He's superb. But you're a superb technician. That goes back to what we were talking about before, right? Sloppy fight, Wilder Fury. That's okay. I'll take freaking sloppy. What is the form in all those hockey fights that I used to see? Terry O'Reilly, John Wensink, Stan Jonathan, Cam Neely, Lyndon Byers, Jay Miller, all them guys. You don't know who frick they are.
Ain't nothing technical about that.
Yeah, their form wasn't majestic. It was the passion, fury, passion. They cared. They deeply cared. They wanted to punish the other guy.
Yeah.
That's what I want to tune into. I want to tune into fights. Stop the people, and everyone tries to be like they're so refined and above it all. And they're like, oh no, skills pay the bills. And I appreciate that so much. I guess maybe they believe it too, but I think honestly, some of the time they're just posturing. We like to watch fights, and I'm sorry, I'm not in a haze of nostalgia about the glory days. Anyone who's been around for a while and is watching now can see it. It's the era of the boxing businessman. A little bit too much. A little bit too much. What are you doing this for? You're just doing it for money? If you're just doing it for money, go to frickin' Wall Street. Go to frickin' Wall Street to do that.
Some crypto going on.
Yeah. You got any? Yeah. What's going to pop? You got any tips?
Buy you a dispensary or something. I don't know.
What are you into? The Bitcoin, the Ethereum, or some more exotic Fair.
I don't know a damn thing about it. Nothing.
Well,
Our other co-host Ralph Velez is all into it. I have no idea.
that's Ramblin' Ralph.
Yeah,
That's right.
rambling around.
What?
Yeah, actually, that's
What?
where he is tonight instead
Yeah,
of being on the show.
he must have scored a big bag of one of them coins, and so he said, "Frick all you guys, I'm going to have some fun with all that money."
Yeah,
He's a hustler, man. He's a hustler.
Yeah, all right. So if he got any tips from me, he knows where to find me, please.
yeah, yeah.
So, kind of looking at this and at the, I guess the impact it's going to have, I guess, on the lasting legacies of Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder and everything. Where would you rank Tyson Fury uh, among heavyweights all time right now? I know he still has some career left, and he's still got lots of fights to get to and everything. But where would you see Tyson Fury amongst the heavyweight greats?
My man, I'm going to take a page from Fury's book, and I'm going to say just about along the same lines of what he usually says. He says, it's not for me to say, I don't want to, he sometimes says, I don't want to disrespect those other guys.
Mm-hmm.
But he'll also say it's a theoretical exercise. It's not provable. I'd rather talk about more tangible, provable things. I can give my opinion on that, but who's to fucking say, right? Who's to say, is he better than this one, that one, the other? And what that usually devolves into is it's like masturbatory. It's like everyone just getting off and getting their opinions on. No offense. I sound like a crank here, but that's just not my thing. That's not my thing.
Is he one of the best? How would you rank him in his era? So if we look at
right now, he's the best. Right now, he's absolutely the best. Who do you see that possibly beats him right now?
Nobody. I mean, you would say, you would have to put Usyk in there because they're both, because Usyk is a boxing heavyweight.
He's gonna be too freaking. He's gonna keep Usyk on the other side of the ring. I think that's easy work for him.
But that's the only other guy. I mean, yeah, that's the only other. You're not going to fight Deontay again. Michael Hunter's not there yet, and you've Andy Ruiz. That's a fun fight, just because I just want to see what
Andy doesn't get close to him either.
No,
he's a defensive master.
There.
Yeah.
There's nobody there. There's some fights to make, certainly for. You know what? Oddly enough, the guy that's going to challenge Tyson Fury the most, he already fought him, Otto Wallin.
Oh, interesting. I thought you were going to say Jared Anderson.
No, he's not there yet. He's not. I heard all the sparring folklore that came out of there and all.
Folklore. Is it folklore or is it?
Yes,
more?
That is.
Is it folklore or is it more? What do your sources say? No, it doesn't matter anymore. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I haven't talked to anyone who actually has a credible source in that sparring to say yes or no. Could it have? Maybe. There was a lot going on in the lead up to that fight for Tyson Fury. You forget his daughter was in grave condition after she was born. It was a long freaking camp. He wasn't supposed to fight Deontay Wilder. He was supposed to fight Joshua for a whole lot more money, as a matter of fact. So maybe something was off, but Jared Anderson he's just not there yet. He's a fun, exciting young fighter for who they've been matching him up with so far.
But the point is of bringing him up is more to say, you know what? If we don't see anyone now, give it 6 months, give it a year. People always pop up. So, but overall, I'm going to say, and this is not, it's not a diss, it's not a hate, Barb, but it's not the best era for heavyweights. It's not a packed era. It hasn't been for a while.
Yeah.
AJ is, he's not a Hall of Famer right now. Fury is. Wilder's not. Wilder's not a Hall of Famer right now. And who are the other Hall of Famers? That's what I like to point to a lot.
So if he's not a Hall of Famer right now, then he's not a Hall of Famer, right? I mean, because who else could he beat to actually?
Well, people. people fight now longer than often they used to, so I'm not closing the door on it for any of them, right? But it's not so. I don't know. I don't want to necessarily go in that direction because I don't want to diminish. Tyson Fury is really freaking good, and I like this version of him, the bully who comes forward. What I think Sugar Hill does get a lot of credit for that, right? I
Mhm.
much prefer this. Give me that offense.
He
You're
just wants to be out there
980 pounds.
knocking up.
I didn't like the old style of his fighting, the hug and hold too much, too defensive. I didn't like it, and that's what my guy David Phillips there was saying. And I think it's point well taken. I like this now. Give me fighting. Don't give me. I don't tune in to watch defensive mastery. For
Not
none.
heavyweights,
That's
no.
what I don't. Sorry, not sorry.
Well,
So
Sugar Hill's whole thing is like, we came in here to knock motherfuckers out. That's what we do.
yeah.
And
Oh, you
that's
guys
what
did say you say motherfucker a lot. Good.
I do. I
You do.
do. Yeah.
He
Uh-huh.
doesn't. You do.
I let her. She uses
I
up all
like
of
it.
our capital, so I let her have the bulk of that. But looking at both men, both Wilder and Fury, what is the most logical next steps for both guys, and what's the most exciting fights, and are we going to see those fights at any point when it freaking matters? I mean, Fury's 33. Should
Yeah.
he even keep fighting at this point if his legacy is pretty much secure? Should he press forward, or what do you think?
Um, as always, totally up to him.
Yeah.
And by the way, the older I get, the more I'm inclined to say that. When I was, 10, 15 years ago, I was much more likely to write an opinion column. This guy should retire. That guy should retire. Shut the fuck up, young fella. People can do what they want. If they can pass the damn physical and they want to fight on. And the reason I've changed in that regard over time is because I realize the level of difficulty that is living.
Mm.
It's not, you don't just snap your fingers and, oh, okay, I'm going to do something else. Where I can make comparable money and be in the flow like this. It's an addiction, and
Yeah.
it's pretty much it, it's a positive and negative addiction, but it's an addiction. So if he wants to keep fighting, glory to him, go do it. And then I would say, well, what's going to make the most money? But you already said this before. The Joshua fight would have made more money, so it isn't always about that, is it? Um, yeah, the pickings are a little bit thin right now. He should probably take a good 6, 8 months off and let some young gun talent bubble up. I talked to Otto the other day. Reminds me, I got to type up that story. I did the interview. I got to type it up. And I asked him about the Fury Wilder fight, and then I asked sort of the same thing that you guys are bringing up now.
Mhm.
What's a good next for Fury? And no surprise, Otto's like, well,
Fight me.
you could do the mandatory, the winner of my fight coming
Yeah.
up. So
Yeah.
that makes sense. It make sense if Otto wins? Probably not as much because I don't know that's yeah, that doesn't make much sense because they've already done that, and we could argue that Otto is that much better, et cetera, et cetera. Sure, we could, and we like you guys like Otto too, so root for him as a human being. That'd be nice for him to get. I'd like that for him, but that one's so close to when Otto fought Fury 2.5 years ago. That one's not sort of the most marketable. So, uh, and then with Wilder, what does he do next? Take a good long break. Get all the brain scans. He's gonna keep fighting.
Yeah.
That's written in stone. He's that warrior. We all if anyone needed it proven to them, we saw it on Saturday. He is
Sure.
next level warrior. By the way, that sort of warrior isn't there. He he's willing to take a lot of freaking punishment, and that's probably not likely to serve him so well later in life. But he seems to be eyes wide open as far as the ramifications. But you don't really know about the ramifications till you experience them later. So
Right.
I think, in other words, some time has to pass for some other people to sort of bubble up, right? So I don't have a good handle on what should be next for either of those guys right now.
Gotcha.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
yeah. I think that's an underrated answer, by the way, to a lot of things. Yeah, I'd say I
Yeah,
don't know.
sure.
I'm not sure. It's
I
not a
don't
very
know.
popular answer in this age. We're all supposed to be so fucking
Who's to
sure of
say?
ourselves. But yeah, I don't. I'm not sure.
No, I mean that's in a lot of ways, that is the answer. Like nobody is. Nobody is really sure.
Yeah,
Even the
everyone
fighters don't know.
everyone says they're fucking sure,
Yeah.
right? The certitude that people have, it's it's stupid. I'm more annoyed by it now. I don't know. It's been going on too long. The sports talking heads, the
Hmm.
shouting, the fucking pronouncements. They're all the fucking smartest guys in the room. Shut the fuck up.
I love it. I love it. Well, what fight before the end of the year has you most jazzed up, ready to see?
Hey,
Is it
hey,
Canelo or is somebody else?
I, I, I love that press conference hijinks. I love the beating Canelo is going to give Plant. That sounds mean, and I'm kind of being joking, but I think the reason I say that is because I feel like passion will be on display,
Mm,
fire, legit anger, fighting in anger, not fighting to go through the rounds and you know. Eh, part of the a huge part of the problem is the money. The money
Hmm.
is so freaking huge
At the top of the
that
food chain.
yeah.
that if I'm making $10 million, it just reduces some of the urgency to win. It minimizes the pain of losing, and the
Mhm.
fear of the pain of loss motivates people to go above and beyond. But if in the back of your mind you're like, whatever, I'm fucking making $10 million.
Right. I'm gonna go take this ass whooping. But after I pay my
Yeah,
taxes, I'm gonna be good.
it, the 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 big the I mean, big money fucks things up all over the place. Oh, see, we got a cat fight here.
Oh.
Stop fighting. The dog is involved. We're fostering 4 kittens right now, and I don't know if
Oh.
one snuck in here. Maggie, who is that? She's not answering me. You see it, Maggie? Come on.
She ain't
It's
trying to be. Look, she like,
yeah.
He does not care.
All right, so what was I saying?
So that's the big fight you're looking forward to is
Oh, oh,
Canelo and
oh,
Plant.
oh. Yeah, in Canelo Plant, because I believe there'll be real passion there. That's what the sport needs. Not people, not co-business deals going off together.
Hmm.
No, hate each other or freaking pretend to hate each other and fight.
Yeah, we need
And
some acrimony.
yeah, I like acrimony. Yes. Yes. You like acrimony too.
That's
Yes.
right.
Yeah. So I like that one. I like Crawford and Porter.
Mm.
Al and Bob working together. Yes. Make more money together, guys.
Give us the one we
Put
want, though.
egos aside. Put whatever the fuck it is aside. Go in, smoke that peace pipe together. Get on that same wavelength enough to do this more. And I think they get it. I think I know Aram does, because I've been hearing him
Mhm.
for long enough now saying, we got to make some of these
Give us the one
intra
we want. We want
familiar.
Crawford
We need to
Spence.
make them. We need
Yeah.
PBC to do the mix and match with Top Rank much more. So I am hopeful. I feel as you do that it's the start of a surge of momentum. COVID is going to be COVID is on the wane now. Legit vaccination rates are where, the next surge is going to be lesser and lesser. Business is going to open up. Yeah, one of the kittens is in here. That's why. Oh, shoot.
Oh,
But
Maggie.
everyone's chill with it. Now, as long as the thing doesn't shit.
There you go.
Acrimony.
Acrimony.
Acrimony out of the ass. They
Maggie,
shit so
handle
much.
it.
Oh. Just don't shit here, guy. There are 4 of them. 3 of them look alike, and I don't know their names, and they've been with us for 5 weeks. We're bringing them back like Sunday.
Oh well, don't need to know the
they
names now.
they don't need to
No.
know their names. So
Thing 1,
No.
thing 2, thing 3.
Yeah, they don't even know their names. I like that.
Well, Mike, we want to thank you so much for joining us, man. We appreciate your time. We took more than was necessary, and we appreciate you being so generous with it.
No. Do you think I had fun?
I hope so.
Did you have fun talking boxing with us?
You could tell I had fun.
Awesome.
I had fun.
Talking about your cat shitting on the floor and the dog getting in a fight, and it's all good, baby. And we stuck some boxing in there.
I didn't come away with the cryptocurrency
That's Ralph
that I wanted, but that could still come. Ralph
Oh,
is free to get me on Twitter at Woodsy1069, or I'll give him my cell number if he got real good.
We'll have to. Ralph, make that call, goddammit.
We'll do
Make
it.
that call.
And
I like that dirty mouth, and I appreciate you reaching out to me and inviting me.
Of course.
Thank you.
Always welcome. Always welcome.
Thanks for letting me blather and randomly talk about kittens and whatever else. I appreciate
And Craftmatic. I heard about
Craftmatic
beds.
Yeah.
If either of you want one of them, I still know people, so you let me know.
I'm gonna get on the red line and get over there and find me my Craftmatic salesman.
I actually gotta check if they still make them. I don't know. So
I don't know.
I think they gave way to the Tempur-Pedic beds.
Either way, I'll wait. What? No one else. It's Craftmatic or it's no adjustable bed. Come on now.
It'll be interesting. If you guys haven't figured it out by now, go check out nyfights.com and also subscribe and listen to his Talk Box podcast. Say that 4 times fast. Because Mike, you always have on some of the best guests and always some of the best opinions out there. Love the twist that you bring to your boxing coverage, man. Big fan here. So we appreciate it, man. We can't wait to talk to you again. You're always welcome here, man.
You made my night. Thanks, guys, for having me. I really do appreciate it. Be well, and we will talk again, hopefully pretty soon.
All right, man. Yeah. Have a good evening.
Bye now.
Peace. There you go. Michael Woods, publisher,
that
editor.
Going to shit in there in the next 30 seconds.
Well, he should, most cats are assholes, and, they'll figure out a way to shit in your shoe if they can. And I'm talking about my cat as well. Oh, jerk. Anyway, so we talked about Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, and the ramifications and the fallout from that. During that fight week, you also sat down with WBO junior lightweight champion Jamel Herring, and kind of talked with him a little bit about his upcoming fight with Shakur Stevenson that we mentioned just a few minutes ago. I got to figure out what order these videos are in. I didn't mark them properly.
Oh, shit.
But we got a little bit here. Do you have an intro for it or anything? Or should I just start playing them?
So, yeah, it was funny. It was the Terrence Crawford and Sean Porter press conference. And I kind of thought maybe Jamel would come, but he is in camp. So I was like, nah, he couldn't possibly come. And I looked across the room and I just pointed. I'm like, you. So he did have a little line. I put my stuff down. I'm like, whoever is in line in front of me, I'm going to let them go. But you're not leaving until we sit down. Because we've been on stream for like 2 years, had not talked face to face, and he was kind enough to wait it out, and then he took a few more after we were done. So we talked why he was there, what he thought about what was going to go down with the Fury Wilder fight, and a little bit about his own fight coming up as well. So that's
Okay.
kind of like the three. Let's see if we got the order right.
Yeah, that will.
And we can start it and stop it if it ain't right.
Yeah.
The one. Hey, Sandra Cusino, your girl B Sports, and he said, listen, they say we ain't supposed to have favorites, but goddamn it, we do. I am here. I am here with the WBO junior lightweight champion at 130 pounds, Jamel Herring. I wasn't expecting to see you. Why you come out tonight?
My brother's here. My brother had a press conference. My brother Terrence Carver's here. I'm here. A big heavyweight fight. I definitely have to be here. So, but I'm still training, of course. I got my work in, and I'm just having fun. I'm just living it up.
I see you training at altitude, and I know a lot of people make a big deal of, and they should, about your Marine background and how conditioned you are. You taking this fight a little bit differently?
Oh, yes, very, very differently. I'm taking this fight very seriously. I'm looking at it as maybe the biggest fight of my career, even though people say that the last fight was, but you always want to go for more. You never want to settle for you don't settle for less or subpar. You want to go for more. So, of course, I'm definitely taking this fight a lot seriously than I did with the Brandon fight.
You're a veteran fighter. You've heard a lot in fight build-up. You've heard a lot in the ring. Shakur has said recently that y'all ain't friends. He knows you in boxing, and that's about it. Does all of that matter to you?
No, it doesn't matter. Like I said, I still got a lot of respect for him. He's not a bad individual. As much as he had criticism he gets, he's not a bad individual. But that's to me, that's just talk to build up the fight. And I'm all for it. But at the end of the day, the contract signed. We both have a date. We both have a meeting, and like I said, we'll prove who's the best man on October 23rd.
How much scouting of other fighters do you do?
I'm a student of sports. I'm always watching. Even potential future opponents. So I'm always watching fighters and doing my scouting. I don't believe in when fighters say, "Oh, I don't watch boxing," or "I don't do that." I don't know how you can do that and still expect to become a great fighter on your own right. Like I said, one of my favorite fighters is Eric Morales. I'm still watching Eric Morales fights from 20 years ago. But that's just me.
I think I saw the other day on Twitter you were saying you just watched one of his fights.
Exactly, because that man, listen, I don't believe in that whole Mexican style because I feel like that's kind of a downgrade. And what I mean by that is they expect you, if you're a Mexican, just to go out there and just go toe-to-toe time. But no, there's a lot. I believe real Mexican style is real fighters that fight with heart and will lay on the line by all means. If they have to go to war, then they go to war. But when you have smart fighters like Canelo who can box, and like Eric Morales and guys further to go down the list that can box as well, that's real Mexican style. That's what I look at it as. And Eric Morales was one hell of a fighter. One of my favorite fights to watch was the first Pacquiao fight because he boxed his ass off. That's one of my favorite fights to watch even to this day. So I always have a lot of respect for Eric Morales.
I know you're a student of the game. What have you seen in Shakur that you feel like you can exploit?
I think it's all about with him. He'll sit back a lot and wait. So you have to kind of push him and make fight. Sometimes make fighters fight when they don't want to fight. But like I said, I tell people, I give us credit. If you let him sit back, he's gonna pick you apart. He's gonna do whatever he wants. He's going to do whatever he wants, and he's going to just pick you apart. But sometimes you have to make fighters fight when they don't want to fight. But you have to push yourself. You have to believe in yourself that you can do it. So that's one thing that I pick up.
What is he not going to be able to pick apart with Jamel Herring?
I don't know. There's so much that we added to this fight camp because it's such a big fight. But I'm just motivated. You can see, I'm just happy. I'm just ready just to get out there and just to prove that I'm one of the best 130 pounders out there.
I talked to Terrence and Bomac yesterday, and Terrence said he ain't doing nothing different. What you see is what you get. Bomac did say today that they're bringing in sparring.
Sean Porter has never been in a bad fight. He's never been in a bad fight. Errol Spence is another good friend of mine. When people thought Errol was going to blow past Sean, I was the only one that was out there saying, I don't think so. Because when Sean has his back against the wall, he's coming out like a bull. and it's just, literally he's coming out like a bull, and he's charging and he's throwing everything at you. So I think it's a great fight. I think Bud obviously has the ring IQ, the tools. You know, he can fight southpaw, he can orthodox, he can do anything he puts his mind to. But I believe that they both have the ingredients to make a great fight that people are going to talk about for years to come.
Now, I know Jennifer has been very vocal about how many times she's going to be running to see you in the ring. You working on your exit plan? Are you working on the Manny Pacquiao plan where you're going to be out here until you're 40 years old?
You know what? I'm working on the plan in between those two plans. Like I don't want to be the guy in the 40s, but I don't. While I'm feeling so good right now, I don't want to leave just too early as well. And I still feel like it's too early for me to leave. Because like you mentioned before, I'm not looking past anyone, but there's still a great fight out there, which is the Valdez fight. And my main goal, at least, is to become not only a unified world champion, but the lineal world champion. That's my goal. That's what keeps me motivated and hungry now. And in order to get to that, I have to get past Shakur Stevenson, and I have to, get Oscar Valdez in the ring afterwards. But so after that, then maybe that's when I start looking at, okay, what else is there to do? If there's anything else to do. And but yes, of course, Jen, yes, I know, Jen, you want me to smooth it on down, but just give me just two more at least.
Final thing, prediction for tonight.
Oh, final prediction for tonight. I'm going with my guy. This time around, I'm going with Fury. The last two fights, I went with Wilder. And because of this, and this is the reason why. Wilder, the past two, even though I felt that the first fight could have went in Fury's favor, but I went with it because the right hand, the big, and if we mentioned though, the first fight with Fury had like a long layoff, and people thought he was crazy for taking that fight after not being so inactive, and he did a hell of a job. And then the second fight, I said, okay, Wilder always does great in rematches. Stavern did great. The Ortiz fight, he did even better than the first time. So I thought, he had a good read on Tyson Fury. But again, Fury came out there and not only did he shock the world, but he stopped him. He had the fight stopped. So I'm not going to go against him this time around. And Tyson's a good friend. Tyson's a good guy. He's a good guy, a good friend. And I believe that he's the real deal, despite what they may say or how he looks. He's the real deal, and he's legit.
You know what? Actually, I totally forgot. Michaela Mayer is coming back, but also I want to know an update on Micaiah Cripps.
Oh yes, Micaiah will be back in November. She's coming back in November as well, and she's fighting close to home. So I'm very happy about to see that, and she's motivated. Great. She's doing the weight is great. We listen. Trust me, we're like big. I'm like big brother to Micaiah now. Like I'm always checking in on her, and she's very honest. She's very honest. She understands her mistakes. She makes no excuses, and that's all you can ask from a fighter. But she's just eager to get back in there, and she, like I said, she took her punishment, whatever you want to call it, like a champion, and now she's ready to get back in there and prove why she's a big deal.
Cassandra Cousineau, your girl, B Sports Nisa. We have been talking with Jamel Herring, WBO junior lightweight champion at 130. I'm so glad to see you out here. Best of luck to you.
It's good to see her without doing a Zoom meeting.
Oh, you've been on Zoom for like 2 years. And like I said, we ain't supposed to have favorites, but goddamn it, we do. We wish you absolute best of luck for your upcoming fight and everything in the best of the way.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
There you go.
Yeah, that mic is hot. I don't know.
We got to do an equipment check on you, man. We got to do an equipment check on you. There you go, though. Jamel Herring, getting ready to face off with Shakur Stevenson. Kind of. I saw someone say it was a little bit like the changing of the guard or something like that. I'm like, nah, man. Jamel still got a lot of fight, man. He's still got a lot of great fights too, and he ain't trying to let go of that belt either.
Seems like he wants 2 more after this.
Yeah,
there's 2 more.
I know he has. He said him and his wife before have discussed it even on Twitter. I think his exit strategy from boxing and everything. But I'm hoping he exits with some high profile wins, just like that spectacular knockout over Carl Frampton.
Yep. Yeah.
Good
So
stuff.
we got just a couple more weeks.
Couple more weeks. We got some great fights to end the year, both boxing and MMA. A lot of big things coming up, man. We've talked at length tonight about Canelo and Caleb Plant. Um, and we've talked about kind of the lunacy of 2020 into 2021 and all the stuff with Triller and it's been a crazy. I don't know. I
If
know
you're
in the
still
world,
trying to slide in Teofimo and Cambosis by the end of the year, like where?
yeah,
Where you
you
put
know,
that
I
fight?
I don't know, and I honestly don't. Besides hardcore people, it's kind of like this Tyson Fury fight. Um, it's not the fight that people really want, and I think it's being made a bigger deal because it's been canceled and rescheduled so many times now.
Hmm.
But I honestly think, like, I mean, you were there at Tyson Fury, and I know Alan Snell and a few other people were tweeting out how empty it really was, and their word on the street how many comps they provided people, just to get people into the stadium into T-Mobile. I mean, to kind of watch the fight and everything.
Look, it was empty and cold in that mug until the ring walks. It was almost like they just grabbed people off the streets and was like, "Come on in, come on in." It was
Yeah. Yeah, it's great, and Vegas is like that. Vegas is a walk up town. People don't get there to the main event. You see it in UFC all the time. I mean, UFC I can understand because UFC events are like all day, especially pay per views, all day freaking
yeah.
events. 12, 13 fights. You start at 4 o'clock. The main event's not till 9 or almost 10 o'clock at night.
Mhm.
You got to set aside all kinds of time for a UFC event.
Right.
So, but big boxing events, the crowd doesn't really walk in until the main event. But still, a lot of comps given away on this one, a lot of freebies, a lot of favors, a lot of things like that. It wasn't really, it wasn't a big fight feel like Manny and Floyd a few years
Yeah.
ago.
Right.
Where
Not at all.
all that kind of stuff. But rare. I mean, playing devil's advocate with myself here. Like rarely are those fights that big of a deal. But Tiafimo and oh boy, it just doesn't. It's not a huge fight, Phil. It's not the fight that people wanted from Tiafimo, and I think it's been given some hype and honestly, kind of a little bit of a jab, a little bit of a push because it has been pushed back so much that maybe people are just kind of going to be blindly curious over it. Let's go see.
Yeah. See what
What are
they
you doing
have.
tonight? You want to watch anything? Buffalo Wild
Yeah.
Wings? Let's go.
I
Kind of
had
one of those
some
things.
buffalo cauliflower wings actually that were delicious today.
Why you got to bring that in here? Why do we have to end the show like that? Come on, man.
They were really good.
Buffalo cauliflower wings.
Yeah.
So you had nothing. Okay.
They were fried. They were fried.
Just gonna roll by silently over
I
here.
know, I know, I know. Listen.
So earlier, Mike he took the high road and said, he's not gonna play the ranking games and all that stuff. But between us, where do you see Tyson Fury? Certainly of this generation, but more importantly, his place amongst the uh, that Mount Rushmore of kind of boxers. Does he still have work to do? Does he still need? I mean, you can only fight the people they put in front of you. You can't. It's not his fault. This isn't 1970s heavyweight boxing era or anything else like that. I mean, he can only fight the people that are in his era. So, I mean, does a win over Joshua or a dominant win over Usyk or Andy Ruiz or any of those guys, does it cement him amongst the greats, or is it just like kind of how we consider Klitschko? Like, yeah, he was good for his era, but no one really discusses, him amongst, the Alis and the Foremans and the guys like that.
Well, he did beat Klitschko. I think that's important.
Yes, he did.
He also,
And a horrible fight, by the way.
it was,
That
and
was
that was my introduction to Tyson Fury. I was like, "What
it.
in
Really
all
was.
the fuck is going on here?" He was doing that
He's
wild,
had the
head movement
worst
thing.
heavyweight fight I've ever seen, a heavyweight title fight, and the best. I cannot say that about anyone else. That's
That's
crazy.
You should give him a trophy. Um, I think he's the best of his era, for certain. And honestly, it's not close. And I think one thing that people overlook is actually the eye test, not just who he beat, but how we've seen him do it. He is 6'9", 270 something pounds. This
Mhm.
guy also can box. He's not just this big bruising heavyweight. He actually can box, and he's an offensive minded heavyweight, which I like to see. So definitely the best of his generation. Got some work to do to be in the top 10, I think, of all time. He's got to beat at least two more guys
Mm.
in the top 10 list, because otherwise, who's he got on the resume? I mean, you got Klitschko, yes, he's a lineal, and Wilder, arguably 3 times. So you need to have Usyk on the resume and grab all of those straps, and then I think one more in order to,
Mm.
like, then let's say, now let's see where he ranks amongst the all-time greats. I mean, people forgot about, Sugar Ray Robinson. Like, if we're talking, he's not on the mountain, but
Mhm.
in terms of ranking in the, I think he needs like two more to actually bust into that top 10
Mm.
of all time.
Yeah, all time stuff, man. It's uh, Mike kind of alluded to it earlier. Just people have that nostalgia over their favorite fighters from bygone eras, and things of that nature. But by the end of it, he may break that, and I
Mhm,
think
mhm.
it doesn't have anything to do with him, because he could complete his career undefeated with that one draw to Deontay Wilder, and still not do it simply because of the lack of quality opponents.
What's he gonna
and
do?
that's and that's nothing against him,
Yeah.
but like, even if he sticks around to the point where, and no offense to any of these other guys on that come up that we were talking about, the Michael Hunters and stuff like that, it doesn't really push that meter. But he does have a classic trilogy. He did beat a long-standing champ in Klitschko, and with Wilder, if he cleans out the division, he beats the Ruizes. If Ruiz can get back on track and make it a quality win, and Joshua, I don't know how much at this point his two losses have
Don't
both
they
been
have to make
knockouts.
that fight though at some point or another, just
I
for the
think they
UK?
do.
The
And
Brits
I
need
think
to
it
see it.
still does, doesn't mean as much without those belts. No, but it's still going to do big money, and it's still the fight to make, because look, let's be honest, no one's clamoring for Fury Otto Valine 2 except, people like me and you. You know, Andy Ruiz has to get back on track because he wasn't taken seriously,
And
you
it was
know.
close with Areola.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
I
and it was
mean,
close. He didn't do his part, with Areola, that kind of stuff. And the less impressive his wins are, the more it looks like his win was a fluke,
yeah,
you know, kind of one of those things. And I hate to put it out there,
not
because
the guy.
no disrespect to Andy Ruiz, but if you can't put away, Chris Areola, who is a tough, durable guy,
But he
but I
ain't
mean,
Tyson Fury.
yeah, I mean, there you go. So it's still a lot of time between. I mean, Fury is 33. There he's in no rush. He's the guy, even though the bulk of the belts is lay somewhere else. He's still considered the guy. He's the lineal champ. He's the WBC, and with the ring. I think he's the
Yep.
ring belt or something like that. So it's interesting to see.
Yeah.
You know,
And even though Joshua doesn't have a belt, 99% of boxing fans want that fight more than they want Usyk and Tyson Fury.
yeah. Usyk is unknown here,
Uh,
especially in the United States. He's
but
unknown
yeah,
here.
and in the UK, that fight with Fury and Joshua, that is like a billion
That's
dollar fight.
that's what was that fight, Joshua, with Klitschko?
Hmm.
That's Wembley Stadium. That's
Yeah,
90,000 plus. That's
yeah.
instant sellout. That's
That's
sellout in
people
minutes.
breathing on you.
That's,
Breath.
both of these guys getting, $50 million a piece at
Heck yeah.
least. That's what that is. So if Joshua can exact his revenge. I don't know how easy that's going to be. If he can somehow get that belt back, that is the fight to make. They make it late summertime next year or early fall, something like that. There you go. Both guys get your money fight. That is your career fight right there.
Yep.
And if it's good, you do it again.
Yeah.
And you make even more money. That's the name of the game, right? Make that money. So
We want to see
get out
make
there.
that money.
But if Joshua loses again,
Mm.
how much are people going to be clamoring for it? I don't know. It still do big money.
Mhm.
Don't get me wrong; it's still going to do money, but it's not going to mean as much overall and all that stuff. So there you go. So good show. Thank you so much to Michael Woods for stopping by. Thank you to our guy Jamel Herring for giving you time at the after the press conference earlier a few days ago, and then. We're gonna regroup with Ramble and Ralph. We're gonna get his cryptocurrency picks
Crypto
as we
man.
as we move forward and everything. And so we're gonna have a good one next show for you too. More special guests, more wonderful things. And I thank you guys all for tuning in, subscribing, sharing the show.
I'm
And
gonna have a vegan BLT for dinner and tomato soup. It's gonna be bomb too.
the only way that sentence could get more boring and bland is if you said you were going to have that dinner with TC Martin. So we'll see you guys next time. Just kidding, TC.